In the beginning. Oh, long before that. When light was deciding who should be in and who should be out of spectrum, yellow was in trouble. Even then. Seems that green, you know how green can be, didn't want yellow in. Some silly primal envy, I suppose, but for whatever cause, the effect was bad on yellow and caused yellow to weep yellow tears for several eternals before there were years.
I had a dream last night about yellow matter custard. You know about yellow matter custard? Dripping from a dead dog's eye, lyric that John Lennon includes in I Am the Walrus. The color yellow. Color yellow somewhere between red and green is yellow. Now, I'm going to show some yellow albums just to have fun. I do these friggin' ranking videos and whack-a-moles and scholarly overviews from my collection. I jest. Now, I will have a serious note here. Seriously, there will be no mention of Yellow, the song by Coldplay, aside from that mention right there. I promise you. This is not a whack-a-mole. I pulled these albums. It's not a definitive collection. I just pulled a bunch of Yellow records from my collection. Now, Yellow, there's a cross into orange sometimes. Chartreuse wouldn't be because that's green, but there are definitely sort of overlapping things. So if one of you wankers out there says, that's not yellow, that's sort of an ochre, that's okay. Is that right? Ochre? I love that word, okra. So, but I kind of got inspired. Seriously, I did dream about this yellow, and for some reason I woke up and it was yellow metal custard in my mind. Always the Beatle fan I am. And so I first pulled this record. This is a bootleg. If you don't know, bootlegs from mostly the 70s, trademark equality was a bootleg brand. And obviously Great White Wonder, the Dylan thing, and Beatles Get Back and all that. But they actually called a couple of series of bootlegs Yellow Metal Custard. This particular one just has a bunch of oldie stuff. I actually, when I was a kid, wrote my Brandon Maslov on this one and wrote the track list there. So if you want to see that track list. Previously unreleased studio material. I just like the cut that the cut it's called that. And now, why didn't they friggin' make a yellow record? Why would they call something Yellow Matter Custard and use red vinyl? Because it's a bootleg. That's why. Okay, so I'm just going to go through these, no particular order, and I'm going to go through them really fast, mention a little bit about them. So this isn't obviously not a whack-a-mole, but here we go. Gray Market, the Savage Young Beatles. Various versions of this with Pete Best stuff. This is recorded at Hamburg 1961, early Hamburg recordings. Yellow. There you go, cool record. This is the original. There are a series of bootlegs. This is John Lennon sings the great rock and roll hits. This is the Morris Levy lawsuit. John used the lyric in Come Together. Here come old flat top, he come grooving up slowly, moving up slowly. But he basically took it from the Chuck Berry song. Morris Levy owned the publishing. There was a settlement, and Paul basically was going to do a special rock and roll album. So the Morris Levy organization put this Adam 13 limited TV only thing out there. Plenty of boots of this. This has a lot of the Phil Spector stuff, plus several other cuts from the John Lennon rock and roll record. I always wondered, why wasn't Paul McCartney sued too? Because Come Together, even though it's a John song, was written by Lennon and McCartney. So unless which is part of the settlement, like not quite the lawsuit, they dropped the lawsuit, and John did this as a response, and whole story about that. But it's yellow. There we go. Of course, this whole thing comes from, this is the American version of Magic Mystery Tour. Obviously came out on an EP in the UK, and then us Americans made a great record, one of the great psychedelic Beatle records. Added all those singles and then the songs from Magic Mystery Tour from the EP, Yellow. And of course, this is like a little orange yellow, so there's yellow in there, love, the song track, the soundtrack of the Vegas thing, mixologist Giles Martin put together, which I quite like. This is just a fun alternative groove, and I saw that Vegas show twice, and it's actually fabulous. So Yellow, loving Yellow. And of course, none other than Andy Warhol's Banana. This is a 1972 pressing. I never took Peel the Banana off. Andy Warhol's great cover of the beginning of the Velvet Underground. Then we go into a signed copy of the Claypool-Lennon Delirium, signed by Les Claypool from Primus and Sean Lennon of Sean Lennon fame, son of John, and great kind of psychedelic prog-esque record. Saw them twice live. Fantastic. Yellow, 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 yellow. Is the record even yellow? And well, look it. They go sort of a yellow orange. So, you know, not a purist. You purists might say it doesn't count, but it counted because the record cover's yellow. Now, two Kraftwerk records, kind of a yellow, little more, one looks like in this light, a little more chartreuse, yet it is yellow. So sometimes, you know, the pigments of color and the PMS colors and the matching Pantone color system will create different versions of yellow, dark yellow, light yellow, medium yellow, yellow matter, custard dripping from a Dead Dog's Eye album. Kind of an excuse to, you know, I wasn't going to do album titles with yellow unless there's yellow. And of course, Yellow Matter, Custard Road, Yellow Brick Road, obviously one of the great Elton John records. This is Edition, the Speaker's Corner, I can't remember what, but look at this. It's yellow, oh my gosh. Okay. Yellow, yellow, yellow. Animal Tracks, the Animals of Eric Burton fame. Look at that. I love that. Isn't that great? So great. This is more their bluesy stuff. Story of Bo Diddley, We Gotta Get Out of This Place, actually is a great pop song. Don't Let Me Be Misunderstood. But then it gets into the bluesy stuff too. God, I love this record. I mean, Mickey Most wrote the liner notes. Mickey Most, of course, the producer who produced everyone from Donovan, Jeff Beck, and so Herman's Hermits, and so on. B-52s, what a great record. This is their wonderful debut record with Rock Lobster, the song the son that brought John Lennon back and play with Yoko Ono. Come on, Mother, they're finally doing your music. Rock Lobster, very influenced by Yoko Ono, and you wankers that say otherwise, you are wrong. Of course, also Planet Claire. Just a whole great album. Original copy of that. Now, yellowish, greenish, not even chartreuse. This is part of a 3-record Bell and Sebastian series. How to Solve the Human Problems. You could also get it in a box set later, but these were sort of not quite beyond EPs that came out staggered over a year, as I recall. Very twee-like Scottish ensemble. Love Bell and Sebastian. I think Arab Strap's their best album, but it's not yellow. Yellow, orangey yellow. This is a push, but of course you have to have some Chuck Berry. My lighting in here is very kind of an amberish orange tint in this particular room because there's no natural light. I got my ring light on the soft, bright setting to try to tone it back, but there's an overall orangey yellowy sheen here, so I think it works really well. Okay, this is the Best Coast. A shout out, this was a gift from Hannah, the Omaha introvert. She sent me this a while back, a couple years ago. She was staying up here in the Washington area, Olympia, Washington area, with Bo, who would also thank them both on that. But Best Coast, yellow, cat, yellow. I need an intern to kind of pick up all and refile with. I need like an archivist. Tim Buckley, what a great, hello, goodbye, and hello. You say yes, I say no. Tim Buckley is not that person. What a great album. Psych, folk music in a way. You know his stuff. If you don't, father of Jeff Buckley. but that's not blue, that's yellow. That is blue, that's yellow. No yellow inside. Okay, the fabulous post-punk band, the Buzzcocks, yellow, definitely. One of my all-time favorite albums of all time, 1974, I think. Paradise and Lunch with the great Diddy Wah Diddy duet with the great Earl Father Hines, jazz pianist. What a fantastic record this. And of course it's yellow. Paradise, Lunch, and yellow. We got the best of Sam Cooke, fantastic, the man who created soul. I mean, basically the man who created soul, more or less. One of the most beautiful, soulful voices coming out of gospel. Started doing secular music, fantastic. You need this is a great, this is a double album. And 45, this is an Analog Productions version. It's friggin' fantastic. And it has a yellow cover, so there. Cowpunk, which means cowboy punk, rodeo punk. The Cramps, saw them once only back in the day, coming through San Francisco. Yellowish, looks like in this light a little bit of chartreuse, a little bit in the green, so it tilts on the spectrum a little towards green. But fantastic album, my favorite Cramps album. What a kind of scary, creepy cover that would give you nightmares. Flying Lotus, You're Dead, a little hip-hop, electronica, jazzy, fusion, amazing, kind of psychedelic electronic, but more of a funky, hip-hoppy, jazzy swirl of a spiritual thing. And of course, there's some yellow in there and red, and yellow, and God, what a great cover. And it's got some metallic flourishes stuck in. Second solo album by Jerry Garcia, and the first solo album he put out on the Grateful Dead's own label. And this, I have an original copy. This is a Record Store Day numbered edition that came out too. And it's got like an embossed sort of Jerry Garcia. And he does Russian Lullaby in here, which is a great classic old song. But I just like this record too. Jerry Garcia, of course, of the Grateful Dead. Lightning Hopkins strums the blues. This is a Third Man record edition. If you don't know Lightning Hopkins, seek him out. Hot Tuna, this is an original copy. Obviously, I think I saw this just came out on a Record Store Day. Yellow tuna, yellowfin tuna. Not my favorite Hot Tuna record. So and I mean, to me, an original is good enough. They're fairly cheap. So if you have the Record Store Day, great. But you could probably find this, and I don't know what the other one sounds like. So, okay. This is one of the great album titles. Of course, Ian Hunter, lead singer of Mott the Hoople. I love this record, but the title is great. You're Never Alone with a Schizophrenia. Great record. Opens up with Just Another Night, a beautiful kind of opening track. Cleveland Rocks. He also did a version called London Rocks. Fantastic record. Two of his records, I just love his solo records. The great Ian Hunter. Beat Crazy. See where my mind is. This is kind of the jazzy pop offerings of Joe Jackson. Of course, if you don't know this record, you might know is the jazzy kind of piano pop stuff he does, or Is She Really Going Out With Him from Look Sharp, kind of a new wave sound. That's his best album. But these first few albums are really good, and I love this record. Yellow, and pop-esque beat pop colors of yellow. Wonderful. This is an original import. This came out as a picture disc, and I've got it, but I'm not a picture disc fan. I didn't know it was a picture disc, and I probably don't need it because I love this. This is Percy, soundtrack that Ray Davis did with some Kink songs, with some instrumental solo kind of versions of Lola and other offerings, God's Children, Animals in the Zoo, and end bits. Very soundtracky, but really good, especially if you're a Kinks fan. But it goes beyond that. It's just a really nice soundtrack with yellow and pink. Pink is not yellow, but there's a fig leaf that I don't know what that has to do with anything. Adam and Eve, there's a connection there. King Creole, to me, one of my two favorite Elvis Presley movies, that and Jailhouse Rock. Ken Creole, the great song on here called Crawfish, an amazing song. And there's obviously Yellow. Never mind the Yellow. This is the Sex Pistols, and it's their debut album. This is an original UK version without any type on the background. Fantastic record. If you don't know it, you need it. A great punk record. They kind of burned brightly for a short time, but they're singles. And I mean, this album is a great punk record. You know it. If you don't know it, you need to know it. The debut album by Steely Dan. This is one of my favorite Steely Dan records. It's different than the other ones, less jazzy, but it's great arrangements, great singing, great series of musicians along with Becker and Fagan on it, and just love it. I mean, I first heard this because of Do It Again, and I bought it literally right away after hearing Do It Again on the radio. What a great opening song. I mean, the whole record is great. Reelin' in the Years was one of the big first hits off this record. Fantastic record. Yellow, Red Lips, Steely Dan. I showed this several times. I thank my late friend Coleman, who recently passed, for turning me on to this record. But I remember this record in the 70s. I had a copy, and during my mid-90s purge. Obviously, 40 greatest hits by the great Hank Williams. Probably the best sounding I was going to say Andy Williams, Hank Williams records, the great country singer. Great record, great sounding, good mastering for what it is. Better than any other comp, better than the white covered double MGM comp. If you want one comp of Hank Williams, I suggest this one. And lastly, almost, the one jazz record I pulled is this. Green with a little chartreuse. It kind of isn't that bright yellow I was talking about, but it's Inventions and Dimensions. This is the Blue Note 80 version, which I quite like. Love Herbie Hancock, and what a great, fantastic tinted cover. A Francis Wolff photograph and Miles Reed, great design. And let's end up with this. Ken Nordine. This is Ken Nordine Colors. Now, he did this for 24 brilliant colors. As I recall, he did this for the Fuller Paint Company. Originally, it was a few different colors, and he developed this thing called word jazz in the 50s, and which were these little vignettes of stories of beatnik-style offerings of word jazz, literally that, with some background, sometimes a lot of piano and percussive, very trio or quartet jazz, and he did these great stories. If you of a certain age, you might remember in the 70s and into the 80s, those Levi commercials, he did the voiceover, one of the great voices. He did an album with Jerry Garcia and David Grisman where he does the voice, and they do this kind of acoustic background thing. Word jazz, seek it out. But this expands on those paint ads, and there are, I believe, 30, I think it's 30 colors. No, it couldn't be 30 colors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Anyway, let's see here. There's all these different colors. For instance, lavender, olive. Olive is overused. Burgundy moves slowly. Green is deceiving. Maroon makes it. Chartreuse you use freely. Orange is fun in streaks. Muddy is hope. Purple doesn't mix exactly. Magenta makes marvelous nonsense. Beige demands caution. And yellow works well for paranoia.
In the beginning. Oh, long before that. When light was deciding who should be in and who should be out of spectrum, yellow was in trouble. Even then.